In Matthew chapter 23, we see Jesus' discourse with the scribes and the Pharisees, and he warns his disciples not to imitate their hypocrisy and their pride. He exhibits a charge against them for diverse high crimes and misdemeanors, for corrupting the law, for opposing the gospel, and treacherous dealings with both God and man. And to each article that he says, he prefixes a woe. He passes a sentence upon Jerusalem, and he foretells the ruin of the city and the temple, and especially for the sin of the persecution. We just look at it and we're just kind of like, yikes, that's a whole bunch of stuff, and it kind of brings this type of fear of God in your bones, and it reminds us not to imitate these acts in our faith and to not be hypocrites. And then later in chapter 24, we see a prophetic discourse that comes from Jesus, a prediction of things to come at the close of his ministry. We see Jesus' prophecy of diverse events, especially referring to the destruction of Jerusalem and the utter ruin of the Jewish church and nation, which was completed about 40 years later in history. Then we see the prefaces to that destruction, the consequences of it. Yet looking further, Christ tells us of his coming at the end of time, and at the end of all things. And this is what we need to take deeper to heart, that Jesus is coming back to the earth, making reign and making a rightful creation. And this is the blessed news of Easter, that he will reign again on earth and take back what is rightful and have creation be what it was supposed to be. So remember that the prophecies are used for direction and for encouragement to believers. So we must look at this with great concern, to not only to prepare for the things to come, but to also be awakened by the urgency and the hope of things to come. We put our hope and trust in knowing that Jesus, that he will come back in an hour that is least expected. So ladies, as we enter into this Easter season, let us end today with Paul's words as he cried out at the end of Revelation, saying, "Come quickly, Lord Jesus, come." And let us remember that we have a mighty hope in his return.